We'll get started. I'll call to order Committee of the Whole for Tuesday, February 11th. I'll let the record show all committee members are present. Item 1 on our agenda is PL 07-20 by Mayor Aiello, that the Common Council has received a copy of the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program, authorizes the mayor to execute the DBE Program Agreement on behalf of the City of Olean. Mayor.
Gary?
I hold the position of the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Liaison Officer for the city, relating strictly just to the Olean Airport. So with that task, I have to complete each aspect of the DBE program. And the FAA Office of Civil Rights advised the city that, and other municipalities and airports, that all DBE programs need to be updated, and they have to include the new regulations regarding payments, monitoring, and enforcement mechanisms. So I used the FAA guidance document that was available, and I updated our program from our 2017 program into the new regulations.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Carrie or comments? Okay. Seeing none, would someone like to sponsor?
I'll sponsor.
Sponsored by Alderman Doherty. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Alderman Witt. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. 0720 is approved and will be referred to tonight's regular meeting. PL 08, item 2 is PL 0820 by Mayor Aiello to authorize the mayor to execute a lump sum consultant agreement with C&S Companies for the design portion of the SRE building pavement rehabilitation project at the Cattaraugus County Olean Airport. Mayor.
Bring will speak on this.
This C&S Companies is the consultant firm that we use for our FAA hearings up at the airport. This project has been vetted a number of times, including pre-application for FAA, the debt council approval application, the actual grant application through the FAA, which had council approval. So this is authorization for us to move forward with the engineering portion of the project. The matching funds for this is $17,000 that we're going to pay through either through budgeted funds or we're going to make an attempt for the county to reimburse this portion, part of our 5-year master plan for pavement replacement at the Olean Airport.
Okay. Any questions for Bob? Would anyone like this?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I do have a question. So our chunk is $17,000. What's the entire bill? That's 5%, correct?
Correct.
So somewhere around upwards of $300,000-400,000.
Yes.
And
95%.
and so, and I know this is something that we've talked about ad nauseum in the past, but this is part of a 5-year plan that's going to reinvest millions of dollars into the Olean Cattaraugus County Airport. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I have not researched this in quite some time, but if I remember right, it's roughly $250,000 for $3 million worth of pavement replacement.
Right.
Recall.
So, as some of you, I'm sure, are well aware, something that has been kind of a sticking point for me over the last 4 years I think 4 years ago I asked for some long-term plan to see that facility become sustainable. It loses a lot of money. It loses close to $150,000, if not more, annually. I don't believe it's an economic driver for the city of Olean. Every time we take more money, it starts prolonging how long we have to keep this insolvent operation open for business. And I don't want to sound like a broken record on this, but I have yet to see some sort of plan in place. Whether it's we get peanuts from Cattaraugus County, I don't, in good faith, can't agree with spending more money on that facility unless we have a long-term strategic plan to make that place solid. It's not fair to the city taxpayers. I bet you 99% of the taxpayers couldn't even point to where that airport is on the map. And so I can, in good faith, support pushing more money into and locking us in for another 20 years of keeping that place open and running. So I will be voting no on this. But I would really ask, again, for a long-term plan, a partnership, whether it's with our county legislature or whomever. It's you know, we can barely pay to upgrade our own neighborhood playgrounds, right? But we're putting in massive quantities of money to take care of a playground for the 1%, and it's, you know, there's a handful of people that, you know, use that facility, and I just, this is the start, right? So, and I see what's happening little by little. We get these requests. First, well, we're just going to take a look at the engineering portion of this airport and the design phase, and then it's going to be followed up with, okay, now we've got to have a larger commitment and a larger commitment, and then we're on the hook, right, to keep that place open for another 20 years for $3 or $4 million of FAA money, and it's no further sustainable today than it was 4 years ago. And so I really strongly encourage that we get our act together, how we're going to continue that operation. So that's my belief and my feeling, and so I just wanted to make that known.
So I actually don't disagree with all of that, right? I think you make some really good points. I think the notion that we need to take a longer term look at like where we want to go with that is something that we probably long overdue. We do need to do that. I don't think we should crater all initiatives over there just because we don't necessarily know, just because we don't have that in place. That doesn't mean everything should just stop. But I agree with you that we definitely need a better plan for where we're going over there. If we, like you said, if we should even be in that business anymore, right? But I don't know. And so I guess I'm kind of 50-50 with you on that.
Yeah.
Right? Like I get it, but
not to use an analogy that Nate uses often, but we're making decisions that are essentially locking us in for 20 years worth, right? So we're passing the buck onto the next generation. Are we not? So that means, so hypothetically, right, and I've said it before, so the population of Olean goes to 5,000 people 15 years from now, and we're still going to have an airport that is going to be bleeding money. And I guess unless there's a line in the sand saying, I'm not going to spend more money on this facility until you come to me with, you come to us with a plan to make it sustainable, then, like I said, every couple months there's going to be a PL, okay, here's the next phase, we're going to approve and lock us in for $1 million. Here's the next phase, you know, and so on and so forth. I guess that's my concern.
I get that. I think if the population dropped to 5,000 people in 15 years, we would have failed the people of Olean a lot more than just in the airport business.
Sure.
But I don't know how that mechanism even works, right? Like I keep hearing that, like we're locked in for 20 years. So we've already put money into the airport. Mm-hmm. Aren't we already locked in for 20 years? So you're saying every other dollar we spend, we're pushing that 20-year limit out? So I don't.
I'd be happy to lay that out.
Yeah, let's look into that. I'm still in favor of just
for the new members of the council.
Yeah.
These grants are 95% funded, 90% through FAA, 5% through NIZOT, and we are committed for 20 years at like a 5% increment depreciation of the grant. So that's what a 20 years times 5 comes in. So right now, the focus for FAA in LA is 5-year plan out. When we did go through the grant application, is for pavement replacement. That's what they're pushing right now, and we replace all the pavement up there, which is roughly $3 to $4 million worth of work, and our commitment would be around $250,000. I could dig up the PDF that I have on that if you like, but those are the rough numbers.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to add. I see where Alderman Gonzalez and Alderman Crawford are coming. These have been arguments that we've heard for years. But I think as a municipality, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we do all sorts of shared services with the county. Shouldn't we really be sitting down at the table with the county and talking about the airport? Because whenever this comes up, folks from all over the county will show up that don't even live in Olean, that use the airport, and that's all well and fine, but we don't seem to have the county at the table. So I would suggest that Mayor Aiello and maybe a couple of us from the county or from the council sit down with the county and say, you have to do more than just throw us peanuts every couple of years. I think that's part of the problem too. It should be not just a municipality airport, it should be a county airport, because people in the county do use it.
So,
Can't argue with that.
no, that's a great point, Linda. And in 15 years from now, if our population is 5,000 people, I think that we essentially would need that airport more, in the fact that the airport itself is leverage for the city to be able to get the lower interest rates that we get on bonding and things like that for sewer line infrastructure and water line infrastructure throughout the city. Almost every one of our loans, grants, a lot of that stuff is based on the fact that one of our largest assets is something that is funded by something that is not even our money. We've got a multi-million-dollar, $20 million facility up there that banks look at as an asset on paper that gives us lower interest rates on a lot of different things. And I mean, to just not spend $250,000 to spend $500,000 over the course of 5 years on, or more on interest increases and things like that over all the different multi-million-dollar projects we do. I mean, could be, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. I mean, how do you go forward with that? So, but we should have to take a hard look at this going forward. What do we do?
So to say that we aren't on the hook, right, that we don't spend money to operate it, we do. We lose $150,000 a year to operate it. And although your point is well taken, and maybe that's the selling point, right? Maybe that's the way that it makes sense. I'd love to see a cost-benefit analysis on that, Kevin. I'd love to see how much is are we saving in interest rate reductions because we have that facility that's worth X amount of millions of dollars in assets. So yeah, I mean, that's a very possible an analysis that says because of that facility, it's worth to lose $150,000 a year of taxpayer money because we make it up and we are saving the city $300,000, $400,000 a year with better interest rates. I'd love to see that.
Or even the projects we couldn't finance because for some reason
Sure.
we don't have the asset or collateral to be able to borrow or bond.
Sure.
So.
Sure.
Can I just ask, being an old new member, we talked about this back in the 80s and 90s, and these same comments were coming out back then at the airport every time we accepted an FAA grant, has it remain open for an extra 20 years. Is there any way we can, for at least for me, not very, but if we get a financial report on money that's being taken in and being spent at the airport, or what revenues we're getting from fuel sales, the operating costs up there?
It's part of our budget, both the revenue and the expenditure side, so I could go back and look at the revenues and expenditures over the last 5 years and compile something for you.
But you know what's interesting, Dave? If that council in the 1980s would have made that decision, then we wouldn't have this issue today. And as our, I mean, yeah, I know we continue hoping and praying that the population decrease turns a corner, right, and that revitalization works here, and that maybe down the road that airport will be a tremendously used asset. But I don't want to beat a dead horse for today. I'm going to vote no.
Just so everybody knows, I met with the 3 new Olean legislators, and we came up with pretty much a laundry list of what we need to talk about, and the airport is one of the items on that list. So.
Great, Bill.
And I think
Because currently, Bill, how much does just for my, is it 17,000 or 7,000 they give us a year?
It's about 17,000.
17,000.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I can comment too, I think I side with Alderman Witt. The county needs to be a bigger player in that airport because as a city, I don't think we have many folks here that utilize it. So we'll never have the desire in the city to push for it to be what it could be. The county's going to have more power to market it, and I think we need to push for that to happen.
I don't disagree with you at all, Jason, but over the years we've had resistance from the county legislature to help us out there or to there was a joint or a master plan that was put together back a few years ago, and I have a copy of that in my office, and it should be. I think Carrie, you probably have a copy of it, and just so we'd be happy to share that with you. So maybe you can take a look at it.
Okay.
But we can definitely, I agree. And, we would like the county to be a bigger player in it, and that's what we're going to work towards.
Well, and we have to come up with some new ideas, obviously, right? They're not just going to, we're not going to go up there and just talk to them and say, please. And they're going to all of a sudden start giving us $150,000 a year, right? We have to come up with something creative that motivates them. And I sure don't know what that is. So, I don't know. Anybody has thoughts?
Since we're beating the horse to death, can
Beat
I
it.
give it a roll?
Yeah.
You all know I'm an airport supporter and have been for a long time. I respect everything John said, and he makes a lot of valuable points. Fiscally, I understand what he's saying. I do think the airport, in some sense, is an economic driver, and it's also a quality of life issue. In regards to 95% or whatever percentage you want to say will never go to the airport, it's a 1%er thing. Well, 95% of the people of Olean will never have the police or fire department at their house, but that doesn't mean those aren't valuable entities within the city. So I'm only saying that to say be careful how we measure things like that. That may not be a fair measurement. It's a valuable asset to have a regional airport in our community. Does Olean shoulder an unfair percentage of the burden of keeping it open? Yes, Olean, the city, does shoulder an unfair percentage, but that doesn't mean shut it down. Also, I'd only remind everyone that the airport does not make money. True. None of the other city departments make money either. That's not what cities do.
And with all due respect, Nate, I appreciate that you support the airport and you see the benefit in it. But I don't believe that it's a fair analogy to say that 95% of the citizens of Olean don't benefit from the police and fire department.
I didn't say they didn't benefit. I said they do benefit just because they don't
come to their
fire
house.
at their house.
Well, I would go as far as to say that I think 95% of Olean doesn't benefit from having that airport. So that is not, in my stance, that's not an apples to apples comparison.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, would anyone like to sponsor?
I'll sponsor.
Sponsored by Alderman Doherty. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Alderman Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Opposed?
One opposed. Ayes have it. PL 0820 is approved and will be referred to tonight's regular meeting. Okay. Item 3 on our agenda is PL 0920 by Mayor Aiello to authorize the mayor to apply for grant funding through New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation, Water Infrastructure Improvements Act for the Stardust Pump Station replacement project to build an above-ground pump house structure, including new infrastructure. Mayor?
As most of you know, we have a project which is going to bid in March off of Main Street called the Stardust Pump Station Project. We have a WIIA grant through Environmental Facilities Corp. That pays for 60% of that project. Currently, this is a $650,000 project with a match of roughly $275,000. We have $200,000 sitting in the capital fund, and the discussion in the last budget was to take $75,000 out of contingency or out of capital outlay line item that we have in order to fund our match for this project. It's moving forward, but we work with a company called Municipal Solutions. We have to sign a finance agreement with Environmental Facilities Corp. Once we sign that, they give us half of the grant amount. So they'll give us 30% of the project. And we have yet to sign the agreement because of this bond resolution, or at least this finance resolution. Is really the last thing that we need to have a finance agreement. Like I said, even though the project is
Any questions for Bob?
Yep.
Yes, Alderman Witt.
Bob, could you just explain why it's so important to put this above-ground pump in and what we've been dealing with for years?
Sure. Currently, we have a underground pump station in the Stardust lane area that's higher up on the hill. And when our employees need to maintenance or fix something in this pump station, they have to go into an enclosed space. So, for the most part, stations like this are being built above ground, and that's why this is supported well with granting agencies. And the water line that supplies the pump station, that supplies the Stardust water tank, which of course supplies like all of Stardust. It's one of the highest points in the city, so we need to have a pressure station there. But to answer your question, that's why it's above ground. That's why we moved it down Main Street area, and we're building it over top of the water line that uses, that currently supplies the tank. It's just a different mechanism.
So as it is now, it's considered, if they have to go into work on it, they're going into a confined space, and they need to have all those safety protocols in place to do that?
Correct.
Okay. Good enough for me. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, would anyone like to sponsor? Sponsored by Alderman Witt. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Alderman Crawford. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, 0920 is approved and will be referred to tonight's regular meeting. Last on our agenda, PL 1120 by Mayor Aiello, that the Project Loan Committee recommends that the city subordinate its lien position for the Olean Home Ownership Assistance Program application 144-04.
We'll have Carrie talk about this.
Okay.
This OEF customer participated in the 2004 Homeownership Assistance Program. She's looking to refinance her home to lower her interest rate. Her 10-year program period will actually be up in November of this year, but she would like to refinance sooner than that. So she'll be going to a different financial institution. So that financial institution will be in first lien position, and the city will continue to be in second.
Okay. Easy enough. Any questions or comments? Okay, I will sponsor. Do I have a second? Seconded by Alderman Anastasia. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, 1120 is approved and will be referred to tonight's regular meeting. I will make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Crawford. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Adjourn. Okay, I'll call to order the regular meeting of the Common Council for Tuesday, February 11th. Will the clerk please call roll?
Alderman Witt.
Here.
Alderman Panis.
Here.
Alderman Doughty.
Here.
Alderman Crawford.
Here.
Alderman Anastasia. Here. And Alderman Gonzalez.
Here. Please rise for the invocation.
An excerpt from Abraham Lincoln's 1858 speech. If we could first know where we are and whither we are tending, we could then better judge what to do and how to do it. A house divided against itself cannot stand. That agitation has not only not ceased, but has consistently augmented. In my opinion, it will not cease until a crisis shall have been reached and passed. I do not expect this union to be dissolved. I do not expect the house to fall, but I do expect it will cease to be divided. It will become all one thing or all the other. Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
I was worried it wouldn't have been fitting.
Huh?
I was worried it wouldn't have been fitting for tonight. Then it worked itself right out.
Okay, right. Okay, reading, correcting, and approval of the minutes of the previous regular meeting.
The regular meeting of the Olean Common Council was held on Tuesday, 28, 2020 at 6:40 p.m. Present, Alderman Gonzalez, Alderman Wood, Alderman Panis, Alderman Doughty, Alderman Crawford, and Alderman Smith.
Okay. I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Panis. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. We'll move to committee reports and unfinished council business.
We have none.
Okay, communications from the mayor.
Thank you, Paul. I have one item. I have a a retirement letter from Captain Pat Zink, the Olean Fire Department. I am pleased to inform you that I will be retiring from the City of Olean Police Department effective Sunday, March 22nd, 2020. My last shift will be Saturday, March 21st, 2020. It's been a pleasure serving the citizens of Olean for over 26 years. The job has been challenging yet rewarding. It has allowed me to provide for my family, and for that I am very grateful. Thank you for the opportunity to serve.
Very good. Okay. Anything else, Bill?
That's all. That's fine.
Okay. Miscellaneous communications.
We have none.
City official reports.
Monthly report of the city auditor, month ended January 2020.
Proposed legislations and referrals.
PL 7-20 by Mayor Aiello, referred to Committee of the Whole Tuesday on February 11th, 2020 by Council President. PL 8-20 by Mayor Aiello, referred to Committee of the Whole Tuesday, February 11th, 2020 by Council President. PL 9-20 by Mayor Aiello, referred to Committee of the Whole, February 11th, 2020 by Council President. PL 10-20 by Alderman Panis, referred to Committee of the Whole, February 25th, 2020 by Council President. PL 11-20 by Mayor Aiello, referred to Committee of the Whole, Tuesday, February 11th, 2020 by Council President.
Okay, so moving into public comment, obviously before we open the public comment section to the huge number of people in our audience tonight, I would first like to offer an opportunity. Anybody on the council would like to make a comment, please do so at this time.
Paul, just for 1 second, if you don't mind, I would like to ask Mayor Aiello to give us an update on the structural fire on Buffalo Street.
Yes, thanks, John. It's my understanding that the bids have been received. They will be reviewed, and we will have something for the council next Tuesday night.
Thank you very much, Mayor. It's good to, I still get daily calls from the neighbors wanting to know what's going on with that structure. So, did we put up the fence around it? Was that do we know if that was the city that?
Yeah, Wednesday, we ordered that fence be put up due to one of our codes officers discovering somebody inside, and due to the status of the structure, we felt it would be best served to get that on there secured.
Well, I would like to say thank you, because that was one of the biggest complaints for people salvaging, yeah, going through there, and obviously it's not a very safe structure right now, so thank you.
Thank you, John. Anyone else? Okay, seeing no further comment, would the clerk please read the public comment statement?
The public comment portion of the Common Council regular meeting is established to provide members of the community with the opportunity to publicly state their views, voice their concerns, or to provide input pertaining to any issue affecting city government. Additionally, the mayor, Common Council members, and city department heads encourage any person with questions to contact them at their offices.
Okay, that being said, I will open the public comment section. If Bob Clark would like to come up and make a comment, he's more than welcome to. George, anything? Okay. All right.
Come on, Bob, tell us about
Anyone
the new
else?
dates.
Anyone hiding in the back row? Okay. I will call public comment closed and move on to finance and bills.
We have none.
Oh, resolution, sorry.
Resolution 8-20 to amend the City of Olean Code of Ordinances, Section 24-135, to prohibit parking on the south side of East Oak Street for a distance of 20 feet from the west curb line of Walnut Street.
So this obviously came from committee. We're going to need some sponsors. Yep, Alderman Anastasia, sponsored. Would anyone like to second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Witt. Before we do roll, is there any questions or comments or anything to add? Okay, seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Witt,
Yes.
Alderman Panis,
Yes.
Alderman Doughty,
Yes.
Alderman Crawford,
Yes.
Alderman Anastasia,
Yes.
Alderman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. Resolution 9-20, PL 7-20 by Alderman Doughty, seconded by Alderman Witt. That the Common Council has received a copy of the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program and authorized the mayor to execute a DBE Program Agreement on behalf of the City of Olean.
Okay, so just discussed in Committee of the Whole. Any additional comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, will the clerk please call roll?
Alderman Witt,
Yes.
Alderman Panis,
Yes.
Alderman Doughty,
Yes.
Alderman Crawford,
Yes.
Alderman Anastasia,
Yes.
and Alderman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Did we have sponsors for that?
Yes, it was Alderman Doherty and Alderman Witt. Sorry if we didn't mention that, but yes.
Resolution 10-20, PL 8-20 by Alderman Doughty, seconded by Alderman Smith, to authorize the mayor to execute a lump sum consultant agreement with C&S Companies for the design portion of the SRE building pavement rehabilitation project at the Cattaraugus County Olean Airport.
Okay, once again, just discussed in Committee of the Whole. Any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, will the clerk please call roll?
Alderman Witt,
Yes.
Alderman Panis,
Yes.
Alderman Doughty,
Yes.
Alderman Crawford,
No.
Alderman Anastasia,
Yes.
and Alderman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-1. Resolution 11-20, PL 9-20 by Alderman Witt, seconded by Alderman Crawford, to authorize the mayor to apply for grant funding through the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation Water Infrastructure Improvement Act for the Stardust pump station replacement project to build an above-ground pump house structure, including no infrastructure.
Okay, just discussed in committee. Once again, any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, will the clerk please call roll?
Alderman Witt,
Yes.
Alderman Panis,
Yes.
Alderman Doughty,
Yes.
Alderman Crawford,
Yes.
Alderman Anastasia,
Yes.
and Alderman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. Resolution 12-20, PL 11-20 by Alderman Gonzalez, seconded by Alderman Anastasia, that the project loan committee recommends that the city subordinate its lien position for Olean Home Ownership Assistance Program, application 144-04.
Okay, once again, discussed in Committee of the Whole. Any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, will the clerk please call roll?
Alderman Witt,
Yes.
Alderman Panis,
Yes.
Alderman Doughty,
Yes.
Alderman Crawford,
Yes.
Alderman Anastasia,
Yes.
and Alderman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Any last comments or questions before we adjourn? Okay, seeing none, I will make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Doherty. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Adjourned.